I'm Melynda Jarratt, and I'm the co-president of the Association Maison Doucet Hennessy House Association. And we're going to give you a tour of the house today. Come on in. This is the entry that has been welcoming people to the Doucet Hennessy house for nearly 200 years. This house has an amazing history that goes back prior to the expulsion of the Acadians, with the arrival of the very first families here in Bathurst, what was then called Nipisiguit, in the early 1870s. And those early families, there were 9 of them included, one headed by a man named Charlotte Doucet. Charlotte had a family, and one of his children was named Charles. And Charles is the fellow who built this house, originally in 1808, after he received a land grant from the King George III, something that they had waited a very long time for. So I'm going to take you on a very brief tour of the house. It is not fancy inside, because we're planning to do a renovation and restoration of this home, and to bring it back to what it looked like at the time of the 1861 census, which would have been the period when this house was owned by a man named Hilarion Hachet and his wife Marie. They had a daughter named Marie, who in a very short time married a fellow by the name of Francis McManus, who ended up becoming the member of the Legislative Assembly for New Brunswick, for Gloucester County. So I'm going to show you the first room here on the side of interest. This room over here has always been called the parlor, and we've known in our family's history, because our family, the Hennessy family, purchased this home from Father Verily, who was the curate, the priest at Holy Family Church in the early turn of the century. And when they, according to family history, this was the parlor, this was the area where they had funerals. There were many a funeral was held in this room in the days before funeral parlors. So the body would be laid out here, and they would have the mourners would come. There would be 3 days of a wake, and then they would go across the street to the Holy Family Church across the street and have the mass. The women would stay behind, because women did not attend the burials, and they would prepare the dinner and reception following the burial in the burial grounds, either behind the church or up at the crossroads. So it's this room, besides being a room that people spent a lot of time in, there was a piano here. There was beautiful furniture. The walls, as you can see, are covered with paneling, this sort of 1970s chic. But behind the walls is the original walls that would have been there since the 1800s. And what they did in the 1970s is someone had the great idea that this would make an excellent improvement on the house, so they put up some strapping and bought a whole bunch of this fake wood paneling and covered the whole interior. And they also lowered the ceilings. We have beautiful high ceilings in here, and they put in these wonderful square ceiling tiles, which leave a little bit to be desired. But underneath all of this is the original walls, and we can hardly wait to tear this stuff off, because underneath it we're going to find all kinds of mysteries unveiled. So let's keep on going here. We're going to take a walk through into the next room, which is the dining area. This was always the dining area, and although over the generations these different rooms were used for different purposes, the last use of this room was as a dining area. And it had a lovely big dining table in here. Again, the walls have been covered up with this paneling, which leaves a little bit to be desired, but as we know, underneath it's going to be the original walls and ceilings. We have, as you can see on the walls here, we have the architectural drawings from the architect Jacques Boucher, who has given us a sort of a blueprint for what can be done with the house when it is fully restored. He has given us a price tag for restoration of $1.1 million. And yes, that is a lot of money. As a charity, the Doucet Hennessy House Association has to raise about $500,000. Now we know that this is not going to happen overnight. We know that a job like this can take many years, but we're in it for the long haul. And this house has been here for a very long time. It has an important role to play in the cultural history of the city of Bathurst. It has stood at the cultural crossroads of the development of the city of Bathurst since the days when it was called Nipisiguit. It has a storied history of families, Acadians, Irish and Scottish, and it's too important for it to be left to the wrecking ball. This is a house with a great story, and we plan to keep telling it, and we want to turn it into a lively meeting place again. What form that takes, we're not exactly sure. That's why we want people like you who are watching this video to get involved. We want people to get involved and help us to do the renovation and the restoration of this building. We need people. We need people to join committees. We need people to help fundraise. We need people to be on our board. We want you to get involved. So I'm asking you, pick up the challenge and come with me as we continue this tour. And before we leave this room, I'm going to show you, we have some photographs from the basement of the house that show and the ceiling, the work that's been done here. In 2010, we had a dendrochronological study done of the house with scientists from Mount Allison University, and they came here from what's called the MAD Lab. And the MAD Lab is the scientific laboratory which studies wood core samples. And so what they did was they took wood core samples from up in the attic, and they took wood core samples from the foundation, and they were able to determine that in this house today there are wood core samples that attest to the year 1808, as far back as 1808. And which leads us to conclude that it's a very nice fit with the fact that Charles Doucet, the son of Charlotte Doucet, who was the original Acadian who escaped the expulsion, that Charles Doucet II built this house somewhere around the period following the acquisition of the land grant from King George III in 1807. So we have done a number of studies here. We have done the dendrochronological study, we've done the architectural analysis, and we've also just recently received an historical research report from Fidel Terrio, the much lauded Acadian historian from the Acadian Peninsula, who had worked for many years and as the provincial historian and was very much involved in the development of the Acadian village. So he had a great interest in this house because he knew the history. Even before we did, he knew that this house had a great history that was tied to the early founding families, Acadian families who had founded Nipisiguit and then eventually went on to found Bathurst. And so Charles Doucet and his story, and the story then therefore later, 100 years later, of the Hennessys and Frasers and Morans who took over this house are part of that history that he has just written. So let's continue through here to the kitchen. Now the kitchen area, there's this area used to have a wood stove. There was a fireplace on the other side. As you can see, it was brought up to the 1970s, but behind all these walls are the gorgeous original walls, and under these tiles are the ceilings. Yes, there's a lot of work to do, but we can do it with your help. And that's why we're asking you to get involved today. So come on in, we're going to keep on going through the rest of the house. Now, there's this part here is an apartment. The front section over here, this is rented, and so we're not going to go through here today. Downstairs is the cellar, and it's quite a job to go down there. And if you take a look at our website, we have all kinds of video and web photo galleries. Our website is www.doucethennessy.com, and I'll just open it up and you can just see. I'll turn the light on, and you can see down there it's quite a it's the original cellar, and as it was originally built, we believe in 1808, following the acquisition of the land grant from King George III by Charles Doucet, the number 2. So now I'm going to just continue to show you this part of the house. As I said, that's an apartment in the front. There's storage in there. It's a large room. And we put all of these our architectural drawings up to show people, because we often do tours through the house. And these show how our in the best case situation, how we will develop the building. And we've taken the best advice from all of the heritage experts, starting with the province of New Brunswick, and historians like John LaRue, well-respected architectural historian from the province of New Brunswick. And we have genealogists, we've had landscapers, we've had just about everybody in one way or another get involved in the development of our project here. And we're pretty excited, because we think that we're at that part now, we're at the point now, we're at a crossroads, and we're gonna keep on walking up the stairs to see the upstairs section. Now, this upstairs section as well, you can see these walls were covered with this wood paneling, and underneath the stairway are the original railings. This is the bathroom right here. There's rooms off. There are 7 rooms up here. This is a huge second floor. Now, we believe that the first iteration of this house, this would have been the attic. So this would have been the attic up here. Then in 1837, we believe, they built a second floor. So then you had this floor with the roof up above it. But then in 1858, they built the third, and we believe they lifted the floor up from the 1837 rendition of the house and built a much larger building where they attached the back part. And now we're gonna go take a look in the back. We'll come back here after and look at the front. Now, don't be disappointed by what you see here. This section here has not been lived in for many years. Many years. No one has lived in this section. It's just sort of shut off. So we're just gonna take a little look through some of the rooms. And you can see that there's a, it hasn't been painted. It was just left as is. This is the route up into the attic. Huge attic, huge attic. I can see, I almost can hear hopefully someday we'll have a studio up there, an artist studio. Back here, we'll go through these rooms. As you can see, there's a lot. It ended up becoming storage for the successive generations. As every generation, grew up and lived in this house, it just became a place where people left things. So as you can see, if you take a look around, just looking around, you see there's old bicycles from the 1940s and skis and boxes and a lot of religious artifacts, this being a very Catholic family. And the old peeling wallpaper, God knows when that was last put up, but you can see under here is the horsehair plaster. So this is what we expect to see downstairs. In the renovation, when we do the renovation, we will not keep the horsehair plaster, because it's certainly not going to help with insulation. It'll be brought up to R20 or exceed standards, so if we can do as much energy conservation as possible, we're willing to consider anything right now, and that's why we need people to get involved, people with ideas who can help us to not only to make this into a showcase in the city of Bathurst, but to turn it into something that might become a archetype for other buildings in terms of energy conservation, maybe solar energy. Who knows? There's really no end. And we're going from something like this and what you saw downstairs to potentially a absolutely gorgeous gem on the top of the hill. 200 years it's been here, and shows no sign of going away. What it needs is people with energy, ideas, and creativity, and who to fix problems like this. And you know, this is not impossible. The Connell House, which is a beautiful restored building in Woodstock, sat for 30 years before it was restored. Well, we don't expect to wait 30 years to restore this building. But, you know, if it takes that long, and I hope it doesn't, but if it takes that long, and I don't even know what's in here. Look at that, there's a closet, another closet. And this was, I mean, the things we find here, it's every day is a mystery, you know, just another one. So we have a lot of work to do, there's no question. And, but people with ideas and whose glass is half full instead of half empty are the kind of people we want here. And people who know how to fill out forms, people who know how to make applications for funding, people who know how to write proposals, people who know how to help us with accounting. It's a big job, but surely there's people out there who are willing to get involved. Doucets, Hennessys, Frasers, people who are involved. Unfortunately, we can't get through that door right now, but let's go through into this room right here. And we'll walk through. This was another room. And again, you know, things left behind. It's just another example of the work that we have to do, and we're not afraid. Yes, it is big, but you know, this section of the house is daunting. Yeah, it is, but it's not impossible, and nothing that good sweat and labor can't fix, which is why we're trying to get as many people involved in helping us with the house. So come on in, let's take a look. I'll continue through. I'll show you probably the worst looking part of the house, which is over here. This area here used to be the bathroom, and it's since, you know, it's been again, this area here was never really, it was just sort of left, and they built a new bathroom over there, and you can see the insulation. So again, a lot of work to do in this area of the house, and we will be trying our best to get everybody together and a team to do the work that needs to be done. And you know, this interestingly, what we've got here is one of the old benches. This is an original bench from the church across the street. I was talking to my mother the other day, who was 95 years old, and she remembered, she told me the story about the benches. They used to auction off the benches every year to raise money for the church. And this is one of those benches that was came from Holy Family Church before it was torn down and rebuilt across the street in 1961. And as you can see here, this house needs a lot of work. But we're in the, keep in mind, this is the worst part of the house, and it's not the biggest, that's for sure. We have the attic, and we'll just keep on going through. Now we're going to head over this area. And upstairs is, like I say, the attic is up there, huge attic. Covers the entire building from one end to the next. And we'll leave this section, we're going to go through here. And I'll take a look at some of the other rooms. This is another one of our rooms. What we're hoping here to do with these rooms is we'd like to renovate them and turn them into creative cultural space for artists. These rooms could be renovated and look like it did in the 1850s, or maybe not. Maybe we'll decide that that's not the best thing to do. Maybe only downstairs will be restored to that period. But would like to supply electrical, we'll supply the heat, we'll supply the internet connection, and these could be offices for artists. Just like they do in Fredericton at the Charles Street Arts Centre, or in Moncton at the Aberdeen Cultural Centre, artists rent space at market value, and they're in a restored heritage building. How much more creative can you get than that? I mean, this is a place with a history that bar none in the northern region. So what we would like to do is, according to the architectural plans, is to create 7 rooms up here based on the spaces that we already have, and including the back part, which you just saw. And we'll some of the rooms are larger than the others, so there's one room there, one room there, one room there, one room there, and then we turn in the back. We have a wheelchair accessible washroom, and 3 more rooms in the back. So total 7 offices up here. And you know, I've always the view out of here. When I look out this window, I think right across the street there is the Holy Family Church graveyard. Now that's a founder's graveyard. That graveyard, they say, was 1783. Right behind the corner, you can see right past the church, and you can see the gravestones behind a fence. And that graveyard contains the remains of the people who built this home, the Doucets, and also the Hennessys and the Frasers. Our ancestors are intertwined through their connection to Holy Family Church, their connection to Bathurst, and their connection to this house. And after 200 years, it would be a darn shame for us in this generation to let that whole history die. We need you to get involved and to help us to make this dream come true. And I know that there are people here in Bathurst who would love to get involved, who would love to help us out, who've got great ideas and who have the time. And I challenge you to come here, give us a call, go to our website, www.doucethennessy.com. Send us an email, info@doucethennessy.com. Give us a call. Tell us that you're willing to get involved, and we will be more than happy to let you come on board and get involved with us as we build this dream. And it is going to be one heck of a showcase for the city of Bathurst.